What's up everyone, it's Code OJ where we get a small kickback from
It's an orange juice.
We've got skeleton dragons and we will be going in depth on them. However, this is a dev build with older stats. The dev build is always subject to change and they've given it to us as early as possible before these numbers were finalized, as mentioned in our first impressions video. We've been told when the skeleton dragons release in-game for everyone, the splash radius will be buffed. We want to teach everyone about skeleton dragons before the challenge comes out tomorrow, so I hope everyone understands the splash interactions may not be accurate. Therefore, we'll be keeping those interactions at the end of the video for those curious of what the skeleton dragons could have been compared to the new splash radius when you get the skeleton dragons yourself tomorrow. They're super fragile and they don't feel quite as threatening when they come in alone because you can defend them with almost anything or even kite them away. Despite how fragile they are, they're still pretty devastating in terms of damage. If you plant a tank in front of them, they can be much more difficult to deal with. Although the skeleton dragons are quite similar to the baby dragon in terms of range, speed, damage, and elixir, they have low hit points. Baby dragon's splash radius is massive with a radius of 1.5 tiles, whereas the skeleton dragons will have a 0.8 tile radius when they're launched tomorrow. Even when defending a baby dragon with the help of the princess tower, they almost lose. Because their health is so low, using them to tank isn't the best way to use them. Tanking for them is the best way to milk the most damage out of them just because they're basically glass cannons. Fragile health, strong damage. Because there are two of them, they can be used in the split lane archetypes, but because of their fragile health and fast move speed, they'll be more effective being tanked for, meaning using them in a 3M deck won't work as well for them because they need things in front of them. The 3M just doesn't do the dragons justice, especially if you split them. That's already two glass cannons that you're splitting. They would work better in the royal hog split lane where the hoglets would tank for the dragons. It's like they were made to be split. It's insanely devastating with this combination because the hoglets tank for the dragons and the dragons protect the hoglets from the swarmies. Plus, splitting the dragons means the opponent may not be able to get fireball value if they successfully split. They work quite well in decks in place of the baby dragon. Just remember, you're sacrificing the ability to tank troops for splash ability. This will not replace Baby Dragon in Splash Art decks, since the whole principle of Splash Art is defending the Baby Dragon, then using that Baby Dragon to tank for the graveyard. This is an additional air card and we'll probably see new Lava Hound variants. I could totally see a new Lava Clone deck because of the devastating damage output, increasing that sweet, sweet cheese factor. A very good synergy would be with the Battle Healer because, hear me out here, you see the Battle Healer in decks with the Night Witch since it heals the Witch inside of poison. Now you can take advantage of that double dragon and heal 2 units for the price of 1. So you'll be healing twice as much. Kind of. You are. Unlike the baby dragon, the skeleton dragons can stop a lone balloon, but will still land that death bomb on the princess tower. Remember to try to plant them in front of the balloon to obstruct the pathing of the balloon, forcing it to go around the skeleton dragons. They can completely defend a lone graveyard on their own without any damage, just because there are 2 of them and their attack speed isn't super slow. When using them to defend splashers like Magic Archer or Executioner, you'll want to stagger plant right on top of them to not splash onto both dragons. Their health is so little that a single set of arrows will allow that Princess Tower to take them out in 1 hit each. They are heckin' fragile and arrows are actually a viable counter provided that they're unsupported without any tanks in front of them. You just gotta be careful about that sneaky surprise mana that comes up if you think you're in the clear. One way to defend the skeleton dragons is using fire spirits. Positive elixir trade. Roll delivery can completely stop the skeleton dragons with the help of the princess tower. Plus, you'll have a full strength recruit to counterattack. Hunter can crush them in 1 shot if you plant him right under them. he low-key deals a lot of damage. This is obviously not going to be viable and will be a terrible placement for the hunter. If the skeleton dragons are kind of behind a golem and a night witch, he'll just straight die if you plant them on top like that. So you'll need to use your judgment with other counters in that scenario. Because of their stagger pattern when they're planted, if you plant them on the inside of the river, the first dragon that gets hit will be the furthest from the offending unit, and if it survives, the full health dragon will tank for the low health dragon. If you have nothing to actively defend the skeleton dragons, you can kite them and stop them completely because of their fast move speed. You'll have to kite them quite early, otherwise the further one might ignore the kite and go straight to your princess tower. That's a lot of damage! So you'll want to take advantage of the 3.5 tile range and plant defending troops as far away as possible to take them out before they reach your defenses. Big splashers like the wizard deal a lot of damage and will destroy the skeleton dragons in just 2 hits. So you definitely need to tank for them dragons or take the splashes as fast as you can. This can be carrying lightning in your deck or even using the miner to block the wizard. Electro Wizard is better if you plant him on the skeleton dragons because they actually have such low health. They'll die faster compared to if you plant him further away like you do against the baby dragon. Fireball is a hard counter to the skeleton dragon, so if you do use them in your deck, try to use another card that could bait out Fireball like Magic Archers, Flying Machines, Zappies, Minion Horde, 3 Musketeers, or Roll Hogs. Or all of them! If you use the furnace to stop them, plant it right under them so the building absorbs both hits while your fire spirits take them out, so you'll have the fire spirits left over to counterattack. If you don't have any other counters to them, this is a legitimate placement in front of your tower. It's far enough from your princess tower that it protects the furnace to dish out those last few waves of fire spirits. Again, I want to emphasize that a lot of these interactions will not be quite the same because this is the dev build with stats that are always subject to change, and the splash radius will be 0.8 tiles live in the game tomorrow. These following interactions may or may not be the same, but we are including it in this video to give you a general sense of their mechanics. Their splash is smaller than the baby dragon that you can actually stop them by planting bats on top of them. You will be able to do this in the challenge tomorrow when they have a bigger splash radius. Maybe, maybe not, we'll find out tomorrow. Because the splash radius is smaller than the baby dragon, using them with the new tornado will bring everything together and it'll utilize their splashing potential. You can actually defend skeleton dragons coming in by themselves with skeleton barrel. Try to time the placement so that it does damage the skeleton dragons when the balloon pops. Passive spawner buildings can be used to stop the dragons if you really need to. Even the tombstone can be used to completely stop them for a positive elixir trade. But again, this is only because of their dinky splash radius that we're seeing in the dev build. We'll need to find out the true interactions tomorrow. It might change, it might not. We don't know yet. In the dev build with the smallest splash radius, they don't seem to do as well, especially against Minion Horde. But with the slight increase in the splash radius, when these cards launch, they might actually perform better than demonstrated here in this video. Even planting Minion Horde right on top of them results in 4 leftover minions. I am very curious about the true interactions of this tomorrow when it launches. Even when there are 2 of them, they kind of get overwhelmed by Swarmy and they can actually be used to defend off the dragons. Think even with an increased splash radius, Swarmy will still be a viable defense. You just have to be careful. If your opponent has Zap there, then you're doomed. Overall, the dev build is always subject to change, and we wanted to get this video out as soon as possible to teach everyone before the challenge comes out tomorrow. The splash radius will be larger than what appears in this video, so we aren't able to completely form a huge opinion on how their splash really feels. Although they do have quite a bit more DPS than the baby dragon, the tankiness of the baby D can survive fireball and a lightning, with a splash radius that synergizes very well with tornado. This new card is an air troop that fits into split lane archetypes quite well, giving them more diversity in these options. It'll be interesting to see if this will show up in the meta as its own card or as a baby dragon replacement. That's gonna be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thank you everyone that is using code OJ. Until next time, stay tuned for more quality Code OJ.